call to order the regular meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, June 7, 2021 at 6 p.m. Let's all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this blessed day that we have, my Father, for the blessings that we have from you, my Father. Just have so much thoughts in my mind right now, Lord, but you understand all that's going on. We know and we praise you, Father, because you've got everything under control. We thank you, my Father, for the blessings that we have and how you have met our needs up to today. I pray your guidance upon us, the City Council, that we make our decisions based on what's best for the residents of Aransas Pass. We thank you for the town that we live in. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we're going to go to presentations and proclamations. It's an update by Russell Soki, AG, CM Project Manager regarding Compound Harbor Road Project.
Good evening, Council. We have a video we can show.
Whenever you're ready.
You can go ahead and put it on. I probably can't talk as long as the video is. I guess this is probably about our last update with the Compound Harbor project. We're about 99% done. All we're lacking is the vegetative seeding, which we will have finished here in the next couple of days. And then we'll move into the punch list and going through the project, making sure everything has been addressed as far as satisfaction of me and along with the City Council. So the project was supposed to be finished according to their schedule was August 17th, and so they're 2 months early, so which is a good thing. And they are within the contract original budget, which is another good thing. And we've done some pretty good improvements on there. We've seen some cost-saving items that was not needed on the project. So we went ahead and eliminated some of those things that weren't required, and it allowed us to bring in some fill material on the project because we did have some existing water standing for the project. And of course, with the road and the design of no drainage, which created some ponding water and stuff like that. So it's actually been beautified a lot better. I think it's going to help for when you go to lease the property. So I'm really pleased to be on the project. I thank you guys very much for that. You're seeing it after the rain, so it doesn't look so pretty. It does look a lot better now. Like I said, all the items are done. I'm seeing people actually starting to use the hike and bike path. So we've picked up all the barricades except for the initial ones, which once we have everything stabilized and vegetative seeding is watered, then we'll be able to pick up the barricades at the end of the month. So this week and the next couple weeks, we'll be working on the final documentation to make sure everything is, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and all that good stuff. So it's a long video, like I was saying. You can see that Allen Boulevard on the left-hand side was all complete, and this is the last 2 phases. With the rain, you can't really tell how good it is, but I think we're all going to be very pleased with this project. I think it's going to do well for us all.
Mm-hmm.
So, does anybody have any questions?
So you got that cutout on the curb up there on Allen.
Yes, we got the 2 cutouts.
Yeah.
That's actually one right there, and the other one up on Allen Boulevard. And I think they're doing well on it. They're seeing it, and they're not crossing over the hike and bike path. So I'm pleased that they're using it, and we put it right in the center. So, and we tried to avoid any leasing lines and to make sure that it's not going to conflict when you go to lease out property, that one of those lots will be able to use with already a driveway improvement on it. Mm-hmm. And they are using it. So I think everything's come together like you guys wanted and planned.
Good.
If you have no more other questions, thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go to an update by Javier Solis, J.M. Davidson regarding Com Brown Harbor Bulkhead Project.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So we are 3 weeks into the project and we're 20% complete. No safety issues, we've been good with visitors coming, not going into our areas. We already did 350 linear feet of filled dirt around the harbor master. We excavated, put some geotech, laid back the select fill. We demoed 231 of the cap right next to the marina and the harbor master. We actually poured 150 of the new cap today. Hopefully by the end of this week or Monday, we pour the rest at 70 feet. To get that complete, behind the marina, we had some washout areas that we also filled up with dirt. It is completed. We did do the new ramp right next to the harbor master's office, 13 by 13 ramp that we completed last week, I believe. That's pretty much it. We are working on right now behind Allen Street on the Redfish Bay area with the filled dirt, and that's pretty much what I got so far. If you have any questions. Yeah. Good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Now an update by Craig Forrest,
Side.
LNV Ordua regarding Harbor Master Building.
Hi, Mayor and Council. I've got great news. We are done with the Harbor Masters building. In fact, I got word that Chuck, I believe, started moving some furniture in, so
Oh, there you go.
things are going well. We will be working on all the closeout documents in these next couple of weeks and meeting with some of the city staff. The contractor is currently gathering up all the operations and maintenance manuals, warranty type items. We'll have all that in a booklet for you, and we'll make sure that we get a copy to City Council, and Chuck will probably have one there in his building for reference. So that's really it. Any questions?
Really, thank you.
It's looking good, so we're proud of that building. I think it's going to serve you well for a number of years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go to update by Eric Villarreal on LNB Ardua and dedicated control system regarding the SCADA.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Eric Villarreal with LNV Ardura.
Charles Alford with Dedicated Controls.
And we're here to give you an update on the SCADA system, which will be implemented at all the lift stations around town. As I mentioned last month, they've been on site. They were about to get on site and do antenna bases. Weather has hit them a little bit, so they're waiting on equipment also. So I'm going to let him talk about what they've done, what they've got left, and what they're waiting on.
Okay, out of the 9 sites that needs antennas, we have 4 bases already set, and we're waiting for better weather to get in here and do the rest of them so that they set right. And all of our submittals are back. We're ordering material, and with our current situation, with all materials across the board for everything, we haven't got firm dates on a lot of stuff, but as we're getting material, we're going to build up and move forward. So at this time, I do not have a confirmed date on whenever this project's going to be finished. But we're moving forward. As soon as we get some good days, we'll get another crew back down here and get to working on this for y'all.
I'll add that we know that schedule is probably going to be affected, but we don't know how much yet because we don't even have delivery dates for some of the stuff. Dedicated Controls is real good on every Friday. They provide us and city staff a week, progress report of the week before, and then a week of the look ahead. So certainly we're waiting on better weather so they can get out and do some of the stuff that they can do, and then obviously play the waiting game on the equipment that gets gets delivered here and there.
You say better weather. What's better weather?
Well, just like this,
Okay.
we've had, as he mentioned, they go to excavate for the concrete bases, and it's just mush and water. So it needs to dry out a little bit more so they can do that.
Water table's too high.
Along that same lines as we did try to jump in there and get pumps and pump before and it just wasn't working good. So we had to back up just a little bit and make sure that we're gonna put this stuff in good for you.
Good.
But the water table's too high or what?
Just a little bit with the rain too. So just as soon, just as soon as we got started, it started raining, and you only get like an inch of rain at night, and it ain't too bad, but then the ground gets saturated, and working with it.
Sure, okay.
Oh, and just the other thing is, as soon as we get a confirmed date, even if it's during the week, we're gonna get on our materials, we're gonna give you an update of, what our projected completion date would be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna do an update by Eric Villarreal, LNV, Ardua, and Nayati Services regarding wastewater treatment plant electrical project.
Peter with Inyati Services at Corpus right here.
And this project's a little bit different. We are, as I mentioned last month, is one of the main parts of this project is replacing the MCC, which is really the heart of the wastewater treatment plant. They had a delivery date of May 31st, and that came and went. Now they've got a delivery date of June 11th. And so, again, we keep getting these dates that get pushed back. And so we're anticipating that once that comes in, they'll be on site. As I mentioned last month, because of that MCC, we don't want to get started without it. We're going to have to go to half power or temporary power for half of the plant. So we want to eliminate, the timing of that. And so, again, they've been real good at updating us on times. They've done a lot of work on the backside, anticipating the delivery of the MCC. So again, once that's in, we'll let staff know, and they've already, I think y'all were on site.
Yes, sir, we were on site last week. Materials have been ordered. We were told that the MCC is shipped. We just haven't received the tracking number
Right,
yet.
it's
So
been shipped, yeah.
that's kind of where we're at. We've been in communication with AP about the disconnect and the reconnect, so that's in process as well. Unfortunately, like he said, there's just, it's something that's out of our control at this moment, but as soon as we do get an update, we will advise you guys.
Okay.
Okay. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Now we're gonna go to the consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of this item unless a council member so requests. If discussion is desired, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the 4/19/21 regular meeting, 4/26/21 special meeting, 5/3/21 regular meeting, and the 5/10/21 special meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to the city manager, which is consider an act on approving an agreement with Bel Air Environmental, Inc. to prepare the U.S. Army Corps of Engineering permitting application for Compound Harbor development for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this has been studied by you and others for many years now. We have been looking at this for a period of time as far as renewing an agreement that we did have to move forward with wet slips in the Brown Harbor, and several hundred actually will be allowed, and all this is pretty well explained in the memo you have. What we're doing is that permit is no longer in effect. It has expired. What this will do is allow Bel Air Environmental, a company we've worked with before, extensively with the Corps of Engineers actually, will allow them to move forward to renew that permit so we can have access to and begin accessing and building wet slips once again. Mr. Belair is here, one of the founders of the company, and Mr. Belair, if you want to come up, and if you have any questions As I indicated, this has been going on for a while, so you may have a question or two. Let me add also, and this was put in the memo, I believe, but the money to cover the cost of this is in this budget, in the current budget we are in right now. We allowed for it last year at this time when we were discussing this. So the funding is there for this, and we were talking earlier about how much would be expended by the end of the fiscal year, and whatever is not expended, of course, Sandra, we can carry over, not carry over, but we can re-budget in the upcoming budget. So Mr. Belair is here, can answer any questions you might have.
So is this kind of like, since it's expired, we're starting all over again, correct?
To a level, yes. A lot of the upfront work and the challenging opposition from many of the agencies that do regulate these types of actions, we have a groundwork or a framework in place that should alleviate some of the challenges, but in essence, it is starting from scratch. The original permit was, I believe, 2010, and those typically have a shelf life of 5 years.
Okay.
We are already have an administrative record, a lengthy one, that has been reviewed, but in terms of engineering, a lot of that work has been done. So it's just getting it back into the Corps for review under current regulations, and should go relatively smoothly.
Keyword.
And this is where the 500, 600.
Right.
That's a keyword right there, should, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
And would like to point out also, this goes hand in hand with plans that are underway at this point, and as all of you and the public are aware, plans to develop Con Brown Harbor. This goes right along with development of Con Brown Harbor, so I wanted to remind you of that.
Anybody else?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a motion?
I make a,
Go ahead.
okay, I make a motion that we approve the agreement with Bel Air Environmental, Inc. to prepare the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers permitting application for Con Brown Harbor development for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we go to consider an act on resolution amending resolution number 2017-801, setting requirements on tax resale properties for consideration by the city council.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I may be asking the city secretary to come in on this discussion also. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But this has been going on for a period of time. Resale and the way to approach the resale so it satisfies you. For example, the 30% issue related to what you would allow the property to be sold for, 30% of the appraised value. There are some other elements that have been attached to that. You're asking that the property be maintained. That's part of this resolution. Also present plans for the property. What's going to happen with the property? Is it just going to sit there, or are there plans for it? This is added to that resolution. And this is not coming to you in any whimsical way. It's something that the city secretary and I have met with the attorneys for the company with whom we work to come up with a plan that met your satisfaction. So this resolution, we believe, meets your requirements, and the firm that we work with is indicating that it would be best if we had this in writing. So this resolution puts it in writing. Mary, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that or not.
No, so I believe you covered it all.
Okay. So that's what's before you, Mayor and Council.
Is there any kind of timeline in it? Like, say somebody buys a property, they have to show significant improvements in a certain amount of time?
As of this moment, there is no timeline as such. It is something you could easily add if you wish, but it's going to be hard to add a specific, because each project will be different. Each property will be different. If you want to put a generalization in there, that's fine, but for the reason I just stated, we did not put that in there.
Okay.
And if there's a timeline specified, we can include that in the resolution.
Thank you.
Well, one of the issues that that I think we might have with the timeline, some of these properties might not have all the city services available to them. So that would be hard for us to
It's true.
require them to build within a certain time if not all the services are there. That's the only issue that I see with that,
Yeah, I see that, that's true.
on that
But
part
we
right
can
there.
put a timeline on them cleaning it up.
Well, I would.
Oh, absolutely there, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. The timeline, if,
Yeah, just
once
to
they
clean it
acquire
up.
the property, within 30 days to have it cleaned up completely. That would be good. At the time.
Even
At
90
their
days.
expense.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Not the city's expense.
Yeah, even 90 days would be fine.
Yeah.
No,
No.
30 days.
30 days.
30 days.
No, I agree
That
with
way no
90.
pay?
I agree with 90.
That's
90
3
days
months
is
after
plenty
you
of
buy
time,
it.
because it'll give you a little bit of time.
Because in most cases, though, those
Well,
properties
you
have
gotta hire a
sat like.
contractor, you gotta hire equipment, you know, it
It
may
takes a little
take
bit.
longer than 30 days.
45.
60.
90.
I think 90 is too long.
A year, they've been sitting there. It's
I
been
know
long
that.
enough, so as long as they clean it up.
Somebody really wants the property and wants to get it developed, they need to move along and get it cleaned up.
I think if we make that specification, you know, that requirement, they would be aware of what's going to be required.
And if it
Yeah,
didn't
but-
happen in 30 days or 45 days, we can give them they can come and get some extra time and tell us why, but I just think if you buy the property and it's sitting there 90 days later, you already have an issue. My opinion.
That's fine.
Okay.
Favor of the council?
I make a motion that we act on resolution, amending resolution number 2017-801, setting requirements on tax resale properties for consideration by the city council.
And,
Do we need to add the,
And, yeah, it'd be
90 days.
maintain the property during, oh, wait,
and clean it up within?
clean it up within 90 days,
Okay.
90, 45, going once, going
60.
twice,
60.
60 days,
Yeah. that's
60
fine.
days. Okay.
I'll compromise to 60.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, consider an act on awarding the request for qualifications for FEMA Construction Management Services to AG/CM.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we have several FEMA projects left. Not a huge number. We're down to the last few.
Good.
It's been a long time coming,
Yes.
so to speak. Working with the Public Works Department, working with Fernando, we believe that project management is going to be necessary for these final projects, make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. So we went out for qualifications, requested qualifications. There was a committee set up to review the two proposals, Atlas and also the company you have before you, AGCM. And so we reviewed the qualifications of each, and the committee that met, one member of which, I believe is one member of which is on the council, reached the agreement that AGCM is the best company to go with this. Russell, who was before you earlier and who oversaw has overseen Con Brown Harbor, it would be the person to oversee these. Fernando, anything to add to that?
No, both companies were very well qualified. We feel that AGCM has more experience in the bulkhead area, and that's our biggest project. We feel they're local, they're here, they've done a good job, they have a good track record with the city, and they have that experience with the bulkhead construction, and that's what we need the most help with. So.
Yeah, we already have a rapport with him. He knows what to expect. And I would assume that when we do this, he's going to continue to give us the updates. Okay. Anytime we do the contracts, I think the updates are important to the council.
I agree.
So that's it, Mayor and Council. That's all staff has.
I make a motion that we award the RFQ for FEMA Construction Management Services to AGCM.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consider an act on ordinance extending a local state of disaster declaration due to a public health emergency for 90 calendar days from effective date of ordinance.
We are doing this, Mayor and Council, just to be on the safe side, frankly. And in case such a declaration is necessary for grant work, this allows us to have that in place. So this is kind of a backstop for any grant requirements that may be out there that could come with disasters that occur here. Rarely, we know. But it is something that we could possibly use for grants here in the city. It's a safety precaution.
I make a motion, we extend the ordinance for the disaster declaration for 90 days.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to development services. Consider an act on awarding requests for proposals for the staff and McCampbell Storm improvements to Aransas Parker Construction LLC in an amount not to exceed $2,032,332.52.
Mayor, council, this is the moment we've been waiting for a long time.
Oh, my gosh.
We had received these bids a while back. GLO required some paperwork changes, so they weren't allowing us to award it. Finally got the permission and say, yes, we're clear. So we're bringing it to y'all to get Stapp and McCampbell approved to go out and start the construction. Parker is out of Corpus. They've been, the engineers already reviewed all the bids that came in, references and so forth, and they recommend we move forward with Parker Construction.
They're bonded, insured,
Yes.
and we have all the paperwork on file before they ever.
We'll do all that. Right now, we don't have any of that because we're waiting for bringing it to y'all for approval first, and then we begin the contracts and getting all that information before we kick off the project.
You will have that in the file.
Yes, ma'am, we will.
Yeah, and I did a lot of digging on them today, Jan, and I heard everything was good about them.
Yeah, but we still need to have the bond and the
Yeah.
insurance and
Yeah.
that in the file before they.
And that's a
ever-
requirement for
Yeah.
the contract
Well, I
document,
know,
so,
and I don't want it to be skipped.
yes,
Yeah, but the main thing is,
no change orders.
what
Yes.
percentage did y'all allow for the change orders? Is there gonna be any, was the job really looked at? Is there any obstacles right now that we can foresee
I'll turn that over to the
that
engineers.
might cause a change order without knowing?
No, at this time, no. We've done the survey, done our due diligence. Obviously, if, the contractor uncovers something that we didn't know was there, that happens every once in a while, but, as of right now, we don't foresee anything, like that happening.
Were any of the contractors allowed to scope or video the pipe?
Yes,
Okay, they did.
yes,
Okay.
So
And I
they're
will-
aware of all the
yes.
potential issues, okay?
Yes, and I will add that we are replacing existing drainage facilities, so, whatever is uncovered is what is there. So that's why we don't anticipate, uncovering some type of gas line, because we're,
We called 811 to find out if there was any other
Always,
lines
that's the
going
law.
through.
It's-
Because
it-
all we're
Yes.
doing is replacing storm drains.
It is the law to call
It's not
811.
that hard to figure
We do
it
it, we do it before we survey, and then the contractor's required to do it before they start excavating.
Okay, can we hold somebody responsible for lack of knowledge of the job? That we come across that, oops, I didn't see that? I'm just saying.
That, I don't know, that,
All right.
sounds like a legal question, but I'm
So when, after it's awarded this evening, when can construction start?
So we will give them approximately 10 days to get their bonding and insurance secured. The contractor can't go to his bonding company right now and say, hey, I need my bonds, because the project hasn't been awarded to them yet. So we give them some time to do that. Within those 10 days, we'll have a pre-construction meeting. And at that pre-construction meeting, we'll give them their notice to proceed. And then by contract, they've got 10 days to mobilize before their days start. So 10 days after their notice of award at the pre-construction meeting, that's when their time starts.
And,
Go ahead.
and how often will someone be on site to verify what they're doing and if they're staying on track?
We will be there pretty much every day, all week, every week.
Because
Yeah.
you realize how important this is. We've been waiting
We do.
since
We do.
2017 for this.
Yes.
And it's,
only been almost 4 years.
Almost,
I know.
yes. And this is, so we just need to make sure that it's done correct and
Yes,
on time.
we have a full-time inspector
Okay.
allotted for this project.
Good, thank you for that.
This one
You'll
and the
be
next
giving
one.
us the updates.
Yes.
A lot of eyes will be on this one because it's so,
A lot of,
so,
Oh, yeah.
well,
You mean will be or have been?
will be and have
Okay,
been.
right.
Will be and have
You might
been.
have people sitting there watching.
Yes.
We
Just to
understand.
make
We-
sure, because
we
it's
understand.
been.
I'll be down there.
Well, Jason said he's gonna do cartwheels.
Yeah, I am.
And I'm gonna video it.
All right.
Oh, Fernando, as far as, like trash pickup, because I've had people down there ask what'll be done as far as trash pickup when it starts and about rerouting traffic to where they can get back and forth to their
Yeah,
homes.
I believe it should be one lane open, right, when they're working on there? We'll coordinate with the homeowners, because we have to allow them access to their houses.
Okay.
We're not gonna stop them and tell them you gotta
Yeah.
go through your alley. No, we'll allow access for them through, to and for. If we have to coordinate with moving the trash cans up to Myrtle or somewhere to a near street so they can be picked up, we'll coordinate that too.
Okay. All right.
I make a
What?
motion that we award the RFP for Stapp McCampbell Storm Improvements to R.S. Parker Construction LLC in the amount of $2,032,332.52.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor and
Excited.
Council, let me add one thing to this, so we don't forget the history of this. This is part of a huge grant, $10 million plus. And want to point out that someone came to us, the mayor, and said, this is several years ago. We better go over to to Aransas, Port Aransas, and look into this grant. And we went over there, and this is what it's culminated in. And this is just one of the many projects that are part of this huge grant. So this is following a grant from the inception to you see it being brought alive right now. It's a huge grant and a lot of improvements to the community because of that grant. Thank you, Mayor. You were very instrumental in that.
Can I add one thing to that? In that this was, you say it was 4 years kind of in the making, but it's kind of a blessing in that during that time, y'all hired us to do the drainage study. And so, yes, we are in an area where there's existing drainage facilities, and I will say that we're not just tearing out and putting back in. We went back to that drainage study and make sure that we're putting in something that's going to
The
work
right way.
for the future, and not, if it was flooding there right now, we're not putting in something that's going to continue to flood. Now, it's a big picture, obviously, drainage, you can fix one portion, but if you've got issues further down the road, that those are issues as well. But this is one step forward, a major step forward for the city.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
Okay, now we're gonna go to consider and act on awarding request for proposals for the Waring Wheeler wastewater rehabilitation project to Bridges Specialties Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $185,690.
So this one is phase 2 of that grant project, and it includes 2 different sections. We grouped them together because they were both sewer projects. Since we got the GLO clearance, we're moving forward with this one as well. And Bridge Specialty has done a lot of work with the city in the past. They're a good company, and engineers and staff recommend approval of this project.
And we're gonna get their bonding and their insurance
Yes.
before they begin, and we'll have somebody on site giving us updates all the time.
Correct.
Good.
Their
So
bid
what-
was substantially lower than the other 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
On,
I'll add, because they own their own equipment, they don't have to subcontract to anybody.
very good. On the PVC, is that I know there was a question about the HDPE. Is that what's going to be used, or?
No, they're gonna
No.
use, they're gonna use PVC.
Okay.
Is that a better pipe to use?
They're both good. We would have accepted either one.
In sanitary sewer, usually it's PVC pipe that is used for that.
I see it everywhere.
The HDP is more for storm.
Okay, well, I make a motion that we award the contract with, on Waring Wheeler wastewater rehabilitation project to Bridges Specialties, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $185,690.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, we're gonna go to consider an act on, we're gonna go to finance, and we're gonna go to consider an act on approving a resolution between the city of Aransas Pass and CMA-RC to amend the 457 deferred compensation plan to allow participants in the retirement plan to take loans from the plan.
Hi, good evening. Basically, pretty much, this is for our 457 plan. Some of our employees are enrolled in the 457. This is just their money. It is not our money. The city doesn't contribute, doesn't match any funds. This is just amending the 457 plan to allow employees to borrow from their own retirement account. They will be paying ICMA directly. We will not be doing any payroll deductions for that. And this will just allow them to borrow against their own personal retirement investments that they've made, their own contributions.
There's no liability to the city in any way, shape,
Correct.
and form.
Yes.
It's all between, okay.
Yes, it's just
Great.
between them. We don't have anything to do with that. We just, what we do, why we're involved is because this is pre-tax dollars. So they have to set up a payroll deduction to be able to contribute, and that's why we manage the plan. We send the payroll deductions when at the end of at the end of the pay period every 2 weeks, we send them their contribution, but that's the extent of our involvement. Everything, the loan papers and everything is gonna be between them and ICMA directly. We will not be involved in any of this, but we do need to make this amendment to the plan itself.
Is this a request from the employees? Because when
I
you're
have
borrowing
had-
against your
Yeah,
retirement, it's kind of.
I don't recommend it. It's not something that I would maybe personally do myself, but I don't know what financial situation I may encounter myself in the future. We don't know. I have had requests from several employees that would like the opportunity to be able to have this. I think that what's happening is they're trying to maybe purchase a home and maybe are short on the down payment and are trying to cover that with a temporary loan from their retirement to be able to cover the down payment on, to be able to do a purchase of a home. That's my understanding.
Well, I move to amend the 457 deferred compensation plan to allow participants in a retirement plan to take loans from the plan.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we go to consider an act on removing Patty Impens Accounting as a signatory from all city bank accounts and adding Ashley Jacobson Accounting as a signatory to all the city bank accounts.
I had a turnover in my department. Basically, that's what it amounts to. Ms. Impens is no longer with us. Her last day was the end of the month in May. And I have hired somebody already to replace her. She's already started. This is her second week on with us, and we're going to be adding her to the signatories to the bank accounts. This will allow her to do bank transfers. What happens is they'll upload files, do bank transfers, and it'll be pending my approval. I will have to go in as the secretary to approve those transactions, but this will facilitate that. In case I wasn't here, that's also something that we do need somebody else to have access to the accounts if something were to happen to me.
She's been here 2 weeks and you're giving her access to the bank account.
I know.
Already?
She has had a criminal history background done
Okay.
to her before I even hired her. She was hired to work in the finance department, there was a criminal history done for her. And so the same thing with Ms. Impens. Before hiring her, there was a criminal history done also. So I feel very confident that there will be no malfeasance and she will be. I feel trustworthy enough to be able to do this.
I'll make a motion that we remove Patty Impens accountant as a signatory from all city bank accounts and adding Ashley Jacobson accountant as a signatory to all city bank accounts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to public safety, which is consider an act on approving the police chief to review an agreement with the Defense Logistics Agency disposition services allowing the police department the participation in the Access Department of Defense Property Transfer Program, formerly known as the 1033 program.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is just a standard policy that, or agreement that we bring to you every year. If you recall, Gary, you scroll down just a little bit, you can see on the screen right there, those bullets. Those are all the things that over the past few years we've been able to acquire from the program. Their values are listed, but that is not what it costs us. That's basically what the city saved on by participating in this program. I mistakenly thought that we had brought this to y'all to approve, but that was another program like a month or two ago. So I went ahead and signed this agreement, but I need your approval to solidify the renewal of this agreement, and that's why I bring it to you.
I'll make a motion, we approve the police chief to review an agreement with the Defense Logistics Agency Disposition Services, allowing the police department participation in the Excess Department of Defense Property Transfer Program, formerly known as the 1033 program.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna go to consider an act to award a bid to Connect Communications for a new PBX system in the amount of $49,385.75 with an annual renewal cost of $31,447.68.
Mayor, Council, this is the hosted PBX system we went out for request for bid on. We received several bids, and out of the set, we received 11 total, and out of those 11, there were 4 that we were qualified. We did a background, looked into all these different vendors, and we decided to recommend Connect Communications. They have the lowest upfront cost, or the first year cost for the city. While their annual cost is a little higher, they are more experienced in dealing with municipalities and cities of that nature, and come very highly recommended by neighboring agencies. So we felt more comfortable with that. As far and their background, all their customers were very happy, pleased with their outcome. They meet all of our qualifications.
David, what is PBX for people that may not understand?
That is a business level phone system.
What about training? Does this include training for all the employees on this system?
It includes training, and it also includes training for the IT staff, so we can administer it, but they also will administer it as well. They work in partnership. They'll do as much as we want them to, and we can have as much control as we want to.
So this is replacing our phone systems, or?
Correct. It replaces our entire phone system.
Okay.
This is the biggest difference is the system is hosted. Our current phone system is a little over 5 years old. The cost of that system, we have it here. We paid an upfront cost for that system. It was about between $200,000 and $250,000 for that 5 years. So this is a significant cost, lower cost than what we currently use. The phones are equal, if not better quality than what we use. The biggest aspect of this system is completely mobile. We'll have an app. All the employees will have an app. If they have a phone in their office, they'll have an app on their phone where they can make calls or receive calls from their work phone from their cell phone. So basically, your office phone is now wherever the employee is, not just in their office. This is being funded by federal COVID money for this first year purchase, and for that very reason, employees had this during the time we were working from home. They would have been able to make business calls from their cell phone, and it would have been a great asset to have. So we feel that the mobility is very valuable, and we want to move towards a hosted phone system instead of one that we manage in-house.
Will we be able to sell the old system when we do some of our?
We will be able to auction the system. It is end of life, meaning that it's no longer supported by the company that makes it. So the value is relatively low.
That also could be an incentive, just so you understand. There could be more or less fortunate locations out there that may be looking for that stuff and not able to find it, so our working equipment will be helpful. The other thing, just to note, this Connect system has also provided our redundant and internet backup. Now, since we've started the internet backup that David worked on through this company, we've actually had a few outages here. Six total outages?
Some of them up to 4 hours.
And they were seamless. Never even noticed, other than I'll admit, dispatcher's Netflix slowed down while they had an off moment. I do allow them to watch Netflix when they don't require to work, or they've got all their stuff caught up. So that was the only issue, was the slowdown on speed. But other than that, essential services all remained, and you would not have noticed that we lost internet. So the company provides a very good solution.
We add our personal home service to this, because
Yeah.
these are.
Can we all get on this?
Often.
Will this help in case someone, like during a storm, when the city staff has to go to a off-site location like we did with Harvey?
Yes, this system is actually, it's hosted in 2 locations. One's in Oregon, is the one location, the other one's in Arkansas. So a hurricane here would not impact the system at all. And all we need as employees is a connection to the internet. So if we leave the city or evacuate, as long as we can get on the internet, we can make phone calls and receive phone calls.
Great.
And that was a big decision factor in this, because one of the people who are using this product told us that during Harvey, this company actually delivered phones to them because they left and forgot them, and were able to get them up and running when they had no other way to communicate. So that kind of feedback is what kind of made us lean towards this solution.
Good.
I move to award a bid to Connect Communications for a new PBX system in the amount of $49,000 or $49,385.75 with an annual renewal cost of $31,447.68.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this going to be for a certain period of time?
The
Are we
contract
not
is only for 1 year.
Okay,
So.
thank you. Aye.
Just one insertion there too that I think we forgot, maybe David can clarify, just so you understand. We don't want to give them the go-ahead until, can you explain that?
Yeah, so just like companies are having problems getting materials, technology is suffering from this bad after the COVID time. It's very hard to get hardware. So we gave the company a 30-day deadline to get the product installed and working, and that deadline starts the day we give them notice to move forward. We're planning on not giving them notice until that equipment can ship here, because it very well might take more than the 30 days. And that equipment would have affected any vendor that we chose.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
Okay, now we're gonna go to workshop meeting for June 15, 2021.
That's correct, Mayor and Council. We have several items at this point. As you know, this is somewhat fluid, as it is every time we discuss this. We could add to it, we could take away from it. But right now, the issues, and they're very important issues that are lined up to be discussed during this workshop meeting, are the utility rate study. We haven't had a utility rate study in many years, so we are doing that now. We'll be bringing numbers to you and discussing those numbers. And we will have virtually, the company that did this research work for us. So anyway, they'll be participating in that meeting also, and that discussion point. Also, the Yucca pump station, the short-term and the long-term solutions. This has been a big item of discussion with elected officials and at the staff level, and involving finances also. We believe we have, we know fairly certainly we have a plan for you to bring forward. We want to discuss in some detail what that plan is and how to expedite it so we can move quickly, because it is such a incredibly high priority. And you say, Fernando, you say some people will be here for that? Okay. Some technicians will be here to further discuss that with us also and our planning to bring before you. The American Rescue Plan, we'll be talking about that. That is a huge item for us right now. Right now the plan is to use most, if not all of those dollars for extending water sewer lines to areas of town that are within the city limits that do not have utilities. This will allow us to do a number of those. Not every one, but some of the critical ones that have been so obvious over the past several years. We now can use this vehicle to begin addressing that, if you agree. So we'll be talking about that also. Conditional use permits, it was brought up by more than one of you, and Jan has brought it up, others have brought it up, Vicky's brought it up. How in the heck do we find out when a conditional use permit expires and it needs to be renewed? I've been working with the city secretary and the planning department on that, and frankly, all of those people have been tremendous as far as their help goes. There is a document that's been put together by the planning department, which we'll bring to you, and we're looking for software to help us realize when new issues come up. Right now, we've sorted it out so we know where everything is and where all the different conditional use permits are, the ones that have expired, the ones that are getting ready to expire, the ones that need action right now. We know where that is. So we're also looking for software to help that happen digitally also. That last point is still being worked on, but we're going to bring to you what we have so far to bring you up to date. It'll be up to the minute position of where we are with conditional use permits. And I appreciate council members who have brought this up and saying this is just not acceptable the way it has been, and staff agrees with that. Boarded up windows, we'll be talking about timelines related to how long should they be boarded up. And I believe maybe Carrie or one of you has brought that up. We'll be bringing that issue up also. So those are the items to be discussed on the 15th. See it as a very, very important meeting. The other issue is the strategic budget meeting. Staff has been working on that behind the scenes to get that ready. I've been following the submittals by the department heads that'll be going to you, where they're saying, here's what I want, these different items, and then you will prioritize, and we use your prioritization to help us with the budgetary process. That's on June 18th, and that's a half-day process. Starts at 8 a.m. I see here. It's 8:30, right in there the process starts. I anticipate there'll be members of the public at this particular meeting because this is like the third year we've done this, and it's becoming more known, and consequently more people will participate in it. These are the kind of basic baseline issues that help us, and the fundamental and foundation issues that help us through the year. That's the foundation for the city for the rest of the year. So a very important meeting for department heads, citizens, and mayor and council. So that's what's scheduled.
Okay, I have a question on that. Is it like in the years past where the department heads are giving us like an estimate of what the cost of what they're requesting going to be part of that presentation?
Some of that, yes, and I'll, if it's not in there right now, I'll make sure that we work on that for you.
Okay.
You have to have that also.
Right, yes.
I have a question for Chief Kelly. The boarded up windows, that's an issue that I have a problem with too. Is there something in the fire department code about families living with boarded up windows?
I already called and asked him that the other day.
So a lot of fire code goes back to not necessarily a single-family dwelling, like your normal house, because the castle doctrine, you're the king of your castle. If you want to live that way, that's the way it is. Up to certain points, it's when you have ordinances that you can go back on to enforce that type of stuff. There's nothing that says you can board your windows up in your house and it be that way, unfortunately, because it's not very
Just
safe.
like the blinds, the ones that close them, open them, open up, you
Well, the same gentleman in the house on Whitney, I had no clue that there were 3 little kids living in that house with all the windows boarded up.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
Yeah, the fire code almost specifically deals with multifamily and up, not so much single family. Single family is really handled in building code and residential code. If there's something in the residential code, I don't know it, or the existing building, or there's another property management code or something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna go to citizen comments. Citizen comments are intended for the matters that are not scheduled on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address for the record. Be advised that the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the city council from responding and discussing your comments. The law authorizes the following: make a statement of factual information, recite existing policy, advise that this subject may be placed on the agenda for a subsequent meeting. Mary,
There's no comments posted online.
any comments? Okay, then we're gonna go into executive session, section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meeting Act, to meet with his attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act relating to Compound Harbor Lease, GNS Marine. Section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meeting Act, to meet with his attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act, and section 551.072 deliberation regarding the real estate property as it relates to a commercial contract with 630 Ransom Island Partners LLC, formerly known as Blue Water Partners LLC, for unimproved properties within addendum of special provisions for Nueces CAD number 380310A28.61 acres of land on Ransom Island, Tract 7, commonly known as 630 East Ransom Road, Aransas Pass, Texas 78336, and it's 657.
I'm getting gappy.
Okay, we're gonna reconvene in open session to consider and take action, if any, on any item discussed in executive session, and it's 8:03.
I make a motion to approve a second amendment to a commercial contract with 630 Ransom Island Partners LLC, formerly known as Blue Water Partners LLC, for unimproved property with or without a possible First Amendment to the addendum of special provisions for New ACES CAD number 380310, a 28.61 acres of land on Ransom Island. I don't know what TR means. Track 7, commonly known as 630 East Ransom Road, Aransas Pass, Texas, 78336.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Congratulations, guys.
There you go. There you go.
Move forward.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
When if we have to pay it back in payments, it's $10 a month till we finish.
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.